We saw that action early on here for Oakboy, Picnic, and Scripta. And Picnic and Scripta landed in the gulag. Clown, Little Mario down, and Tappa. Here, a different squad looking to take angles. It's fried from the roof, but can we connect it?
Yeah, these are those early fights we're talking about. You need these in your belt to have a couple kills so that kind of relieves some of that early and mid-game pressure to try to find eliminations. All you have to worry about is setting up for success. And frankly, for Picnic Basket, not set up for success at all. Down and crawling, bleeding out, and unfortunately headed to the gulag early. I'd be curious to see who he's fighting. It might be Almond. Look at that. Almond falling in the kill feed as well. Some early fights, and we'll see. But hey, Twitty fades Tappa. Seemingly things went well to start as they won that team fight. And as we head over to Breadman, Joe, and Foreign Jace, another team we expect a lot from, and frankly, a fun conversation point, because I know the analysts kind of talked a little bit about them, but this Foreign Jace edition, like not working with Skullface, that was their original trio, and having to sub in Foreign Jace was such an interesting value add, because Jace didn't even make LAN last year, but seemingly it worked pretty well for him. We'll check back in with that squad here shortly. Yeah,
you're definitely going to need to do everything you can to make it to that global LAN, especially with Swisham wanting to make it for the first time here alongside Nico and Foulnets. Already seems with Nico opening the engagement. UAVs to fall. Here come the C4s. We saw what they did to Huskers, and you know, they can be pretty detrimental. Smoke for the inside to cut off any lines of sight, but you're about to get sent on by a squad who wants every elimination they can get.
Yeah, there's some ancient proverb in there somewhere. It's like, when all else fails, just throw C4s and pray. I don't know, but unfortunately for Magoo, he's gonna have to pray on the downfall of his opponents. No chance in hell. 3v1. Swisham wins that every day of the week, including Sundays. But today's a Tuesday, and well, it's map number 2, so a great start for Swisham's squad, and they needed it. They are in 31st going into this lobby, and frankly, I think there's a lot of teams and a lot of people watching, a lot of players in the EU region that are cheering this squad on. I feel like Swisham is almost like the home team we all want to see succeed, not just because of their history in Warzone competitive, but also Nico was part of that squad that made it on the wild card game. These have been friends for a long time, but to the gulag we go. Willie T trying to win his ones and can't see a thing, so just spraying and praying, and will he get Grev? What?
Did we just time out?
I think we timed out. We timed out. The gulag ran out of time as they try to beat each other down, and they both lose. So suck it, nerds. Head back to the lobby. I don't know.
At least Magoo and UAVs are still up in it. We can get Willie T back, no problem. But for now, all 40 squads still in the lobby. No one has completely taken that exit. As we kind of cruise over Cargo, Old Town, Sea-Town, not going to be the best areas of the map to go ahead and hit that regain, but sometimes it's all you've got. But Lovey there on that rotation, and Locksteel tries to pick up an easy KP, but unfortunately gets caught out.
Now, Assault can certainly shoot straight, but frustratingly, I think he really wanted that kill and overextended there, giving his life away for what? Nothing, frankly. So that team's going to have to totally bail out and try to readdress. And oh no, everything has gone bad for the boys at Hollow. OP marked, Reed Boy Shaded Step in trouble with Reed Boy last alive. They've got to win their gulags. You could see them in dead last on this leaderboard, and for whatever it's worth, they're getting contested by SSD. They've weakened them, and now a third party's coming in from Team 12, an opportunity to maybe put SSD on their back heels. This is Omit in A. This is a big squad, a lot of rivalry here, Tip. See how it goes.
Look, they need to take out this squad now and prevent them from having some substantial eliminations through the mid game. But coming out of that northwestern side of Urzikstan, you're going to have to separate Shifty, Biffle, Soka, and maybe take those fights more isolated, because something that this squad loves to do is kind of swarm around the opposition. You saw it just on that prior fight. All 3 members of SSD, or Team Falcons per se, was able to just collapse upon the remaining member. Now though, Braxton, Youngstas, and Juju have kind of taken up that space, and you can see that SST is rotating further into power.
Yeah, honestly, this is a I guess, again, it goes back to that early combos we talked about. It's just like not worth the time, because at the end of the day, like, you don't really care if SSD gets chalked early. Like, they're gonna qualify for global finals unless an act of God happens. And so you get an early knock, you get your kill, and then you move on. It's just not worth chalking your game to try to hunt them down and then potentially lose that fight. So I think a smart call there from Omit NA. You get a little bit of cheese as your little rat play third partying, and then run away with it. Don't get caught in the mousetrap that SSD likely is going to try to set. So we'll see how that Omit NA squad does. A really strong team. They've been really putting things together the last couple days. But this is one of those squads too, I think, from a chemistry standpoint, Tiff, we could talk about for a very long time. Gabe Kuhn, very new to the Warzone competitive scene, being a young gun.
Yeah, they need to do something strong here. They're finding themselves outside the top 20 right now, not even close to top 12. But this could be a game for them to turn it around, especially if we're shooting like that. However, Limax going to answer back, fully take down Gabe, and, well, flanked Blast trying to push on in, but we got Levi back up on their feet. It turns into a 1v2, and even with the support from flanked at the side, we still can't get the numbers back in our favor.
Man, I almost want to run that back. I love the desk to break down that segment. Gabe Kuhn is such a talented young player. He put in his intro form when we sent out that Q&A that he wanted to be rookie of the year, and he makes some incredible plays like that where he's able to take down a 1v2, almost a 1v3, but frankly, he just went a hair too early. He waits maybe a second and a half, and Blast is there to play follow-up, and they easily win the 2v1. He just got a little too aggro. He wanted the 1v3 for the clip, play for the win, play for the high percentage gunfights. But here we go, back into the mix. Scriptus team on their back heels again as Scum and Squad continuing to farm the edge of lobbies. Tiff, this Scum and Squad always goes for kills.
Hey, you've got to, right? We talk about what you need to do is balance that play. Okay, look, Dongy and Unrational. If Unrational would have connected that onto Nico, I would have lost it. But for now, we're still in hot pursuit of that squad that we've really been highlighting here throughout drop number 2 and even drop number 1. But it looks like Nico is potentially the last standing member looking for a regain over here in our Opera House. And if I'm Unrational and I just want to go ahead and take it out and get one step closer to a better multiplier and bolster my points, this is the way to do it.
Yeah, and frankly, like, looking at their scores too, like, they're inside the top 5. They had a ton of kills, and their multiplier was pretty low. They didn't get a super high placement, and I think that's all they care about. Is like, hey, if we get the kills, it almost doesn't matter what place we get to. And hey, if we can drop a banger map and get the placement, that could get us about halfway to qualifying just on one singular map. So I like this pace of play. Every team plays the game slightly different. Some super aggressive, super fast pace, and some, like Big Man's team, I think is a good example. They got to that in-game super early and got paid for it with that multiplier. So both ways work. Both teams inside the top 5. We'll see which one pays off the most today as Dongy tries to make an aggressive play. This is Swishham's team on the other side.
Even after the C4 slight nerf, I'd like to say that it's still an MVP. Whether it's opening a fight, forcing someone out of a cover that you think would be beneficial to them, and you just waltz right in and clean up those eliminations. But now that we're at the beginning of Circle 3, a lot of teams are going to be looking for those buy stations, whether or not that's to take advantage of it, get some teammates back. You can already see them calling in a mobile buy station, right? That advanced UAV. When you string together those UAVs, I think it's like 3 together, pop the advance and go on the move.
Yeah, this is tough. I think especially with advanced up, if you get a knock, you've got to hunt down these teams. You cannot let them run away. You've got to hunt them down. And now on the hunt, you can see Time in trouble as he goes down and being sent to the gulag. Ripper and Loctive, last 2 up for the team, getting hunted by this other squad. Vexo on the other side. Nice outplay here from Ripper, but he's opened his shoulder to Vexo's teammate. A great bait and switch and a great cleanup. One goes down and then the full wipe. I gotta give some credit to Vexo and Ave winning that 2v2 there. That was a great breakdown of that squad.
And that's a team that barely made it here into the NA finals, right? 19th in lower round 2. However, Super Evan fully eliminated there by OP Marked. We'll have to see what that squad's up to. But for now, Limax, Zeppa, Levi moving on into that Team Joe gang, which we had just witnessed them finding some elims.
Super Evan in the gulag. Otterize just coming out of the gulag. Empathy on no plates likely coming out of the gulag as well. I think this team just got full wiped. All having been sent to the gulag. They would love to all win their ones. That's 3 kills. And frankly, that's actually a sizable amount in this game. If you all win all 3 of your gulags, that's a ton of points added to your leaderboard, especially if you can get some multipliers. But they've got a lot of time that they need to stabilize. And Super Evan not taking any chances. waiting, watching, lurking, and dominating here in the Gulag. Super Evan joining his teammates back on the map.
That was super nice and clean, and honestly just used that rope coming down to their advantage. Vexo picks up a nice fight over there against Levi, grabs the full, and sends him to the Gulag. Limax, however, last one here on the big map, trying to clean up this roster. Vexo Chalice, he gets the crack, keeps going, doesn't even peel away for a second, and avenges the squad mate.
Limax is one of those players that kind of you forget about for a little while until he does something like that and you're like, oh wait, this guy's like so good, and I'd really like this team to stay awake and stay woken up. Don't fall sleepily down into the bottom 20 or even into that kind of 13th to 20th. You're about halfway down the leaderboard. You're headed to LCQ as well. You got to get to top 12, and a play like that could set your team up for success. Very well done, and just wins the gunfight. That right there is the purest form of COD. Just outshoot your opponents.
Yeah, true. And I mean, honestly, Limax already has LAN experience, played last year alongside Jowo and Breadman. And, well, we got to see if they're going to be able to make it back there. Jowo, Breadman in the scopes of 10x right now. C4 is going out, and that one, well, that was a misplay. We're going to go ahead and get out of that building now and maybe take our gun and see if we can connect it here on a Jace who's pushing on up, gets knocked on the stairway, and now we just have to whittle it down. One more player.
Man, I don't like that play. I really don't like Jace making that such an aggressive play, just giving his life away. E700 trying to play spoiler and is able to do it. Joe, I think, didn't have a gas mask, and so that final bullet was enough to get him low enough where the gas chunked him away, and the kill was credited E700. They basically killed each other. I mean, it was almost a full team wipe both ways, as Joa's squad is totally and wholly wiped and sent somewhere. Hopefully, they've got a Gulag still to play with, but that is a brutal fight here on the edge of Cargo, and we'd love to take a quick look at the map and showcase where it's at, Tiff, because with all of these fights and all of this crazy action, our circle is headed up to the north side of both towns, as it were, Low Town and Old Town, and it's right dead center. The river is where you need to be. I'm looking at Team 5 potentially in one of the best spots. Team 23, if they can rotate off of that small little island in the middle of the river and get back over to land, that's potentially the right spot to be, and they're holding SSD, the Falcons team, rotating in from pop-off.
Yeah, there's a lot of things here that you could break down, but empathy from that Super Evan roster is still alive and well, and the full regain has occurred. Still cash split between two of the members to make a buyback should they lose anyone out here around Lowtown. Now, there's a cluster in Old Town, there's a cluster in Lowtown, and minimal teams across the bridge, which is more than likely means that it is going to pull towards the towns. However, if we see zones in the past like we've seen, it pulled to the bridge last time. But SSD still trying to make it into where they believe that zone is about to pull to.
Quick look overhead of Super Evan's team. Several players, Nate Dogg, Destroy, Raul flying in, trying to get a piece of the last couple pieces of cover here on the north side of Lowtown. Aydan's team a little bit further down the leaderboard than we'd like them to be. Smith, DJ Moss, a strong team, but another team that's hot and cold. They need to be hot today to make the global finals. And Sage getting team wipes off into the distance. It's pure and utter chaos as all the teams are preparing for what will definitely be a spicy but likely wet in-game as Super Evan, quick look back on that Gulag we were talking about from before, makes a great play to win it, to set his team up for success.
That's the way you gotta do it. Clown Little Mario Fried on the screen here, looking to hold out Intex and maybe find some eliminations. Fried gets ever so close, but Mutex is already under the bridge, and honestly, I'd love to be a little more close to Clown and Little Mario, especially when you have squads across the way that are already looking to get involved, right? Team Biffle has rotated in and is constantly putting that pressure from the cross, and, well, Fried on the ground, hitting that self-res, looking for a tap, gets it. We preserve the self-res for now, but we need to clean up Intex before it's too late.
Let's be very clear. It feels like in-game, there's still 26 teams, now make it 25 with 70 players on this map. And there's about to be, in this next zone, not a lot of cover to work with. The team in the God spot, who is it? SSD, no questions asked. But the question is, who will get to that spot to try to contest them? Or is everybody going to hand them the win, potentially, again, here into this second map? Super Evan's team still in a pretty sizable position down on the north side of Lowtown, having to rotate in. This squad is now the only team team, Lil Mario, Clown, Fried, they're the only team on this western side of the zone that is neighboring kind of that hilltop that you're going to see that Falcons team on. And as the poll comes through, you can see it on the minimap. This squad has the longest rotation out of anyone and probably the most dangerous. They have to go through 3 to 4 or 5 teams on that southern side of the circle in order to make it. I think they might try going north unless they think they need the kills.
Well, here's the deal. At the time of that circle pop, there were only 3 teams that were inside the next circle. Team number 3 and team number 24. That's gonna be Colony 2K for squad number 3. Should be able to take that early space in one of the only buildings near that bridge. But for Tappa, Fades, Twitty, they have a rotation that is going to be tough, but we're gonna navigate up that eastern side, which we will run into some resistance, but you're going to have to clean out. Locksteel and Co. just ahead of you.
Here they go. SSD, Falcons trying to make a move, and well, there's a Mutex swimming around, maybe trying to play for placement. They're not going to let that happen. Shifty quickly cleans up Mutex and says, see you later. Let's keep rotating, and it's going to be Shifty's squad, and they're going to be, I think the only team that can actually shoot at them at this point is going to be Watch Waldo. Nick Cool Colony, a dominant team from our upper bracket, got 3rd in that tournament, and frankly, a team that we shouted out a lot at the top of the show because it's the exact opposite of the squad on your screen. Little to no Kim going into this, and they've made it work on the back of Nick Cool's IGL. Colony and Waldo have been playing together for years and have a chance to make global finals with a brand new IGL. They didn't even know who was going to be an hour before the competition. The problem is they are in trouble. They're the first team in the warpath that is the Falcons, and they're getting broken down bit by bit and barely ripping even plates off of Shifty.
Look, EOD, it doesn't even matter. These C4s are still ripping, and there goes Waldo. And it doesn't matter, right? They gave up so much space. We have this ridge line that we could potentially work with, yet we just keep letting Shifty, Biffle, Soka just get even closer. And they're opening things up not only with smokes, but with those C4s to force them back. Now we get access to this mobile buy station to get anything we need for the end game. And yes, you've got squad number 18, Team Zeppa, on that other ridge line. Likely was wanting to get involved with that fight or maybe prevent them from taking space away from them.
Here we go. It's getting really tight, and this new zone is right on the bridge, and somebody has driven the train right into in circle. So this will be a lot of fun as we see our former map winners of map number 1 trying to go back to back. Only the second team to be able to do that if they can execute on it. Here we go. You can see the train driving through the middle of our zone. And that's, I believe, who is it? Oh, it's OP Marks. They've somehow restabilized. And unfortunately for Super Evan, they're in trouble, but no, with smokes and with the help of their teammates, somehow they've ripped Raul, even though Destroy's team knew they were coming, saw them flying in, and even got first shots. They've somehow taken out one. Still, though, Autorize in trouble on the outside of this building.
We saw a rotation just like that out of a squad in the EMEA lower round 2 for the same exact zone. You know what happened? They all died. So the fact that Autorize and Super Ev are still upstanding here, dead center, just trying to work with what they've got is great because we're into that next multiplier of 1.4x and we need to get to top 10. But I still don't love where we're at. Too many angles, but you got to work with what you got.
Team Rated still alive on that western side. Team Sage, our top 3 team from map number 1, just got wiped, by the way, in I believe 15th place. Here's SSD trying to work their way into the circle. Coming in a bit late, and they've got OP Marked and Reed Boy on the other side. Already wiped this team once to see if they can do it again, especially when they have player advantage. The problem is, to be able to push this, you open up your shoulders to other teams and a flank comes through. Biffle in trouble. Has to make a play. They lose Hisoka. Only 2 left. Reed Boy still alive on the train. No one to contest them yet. And we're into the top 11 teams. You got to get top 10. Can't overextend, not yet. Rated, shoving and pushing the equation, but gets punished for it. They do get one. SSD falls, I believe, just barely in 10th place. Still a sizable multiplier, but we will not see them into this final circle. We still see 2 of the 3 of our former map winners. They could go back to back, but they have a tall task in front of them as a couple teams of 3 still alive.
Yeah, you got Mayapo, Otter, Prospect over there, still alive for Team Rated. Now, Rated is their IGL. He calls and allows Prospect and Mayapo to just focus on that fragging potential. So with Rated out of the lobby right now, it's going to give him more time to focus on giving comms to that duo. Otter Eyes, Super Evan still on the opposing side, but for Locksteel, Sway, Hunt City, this is the time to gatekeep this squad and deny them even more access. But Strixie goes down to that mobile, grabs a gas mask, and is looking for a Hail Mary rotation around.
Been waiting for this Hunticity squad to wake up. Barely missed out on an auto qual into the regional finals. 21st place and then struggled in lower bracket round 2. Have a chance to replicate their upper bracket success, but unfortunately for everyone right now, Super Evan is destroying every single player left on the map. The wolf is hunting. He is hungry and he is devouring every team around him. All of a sudden, it looks like we will see a back-to-back winner unless somebody plays spoiler, and it's a two-man show at this point as they wipe every team in their Warpath TIFF. It is a 2v1 and now no longer a third one. It's a 2v2. Super Evan, Autorize, Zeppa on the other side.
This is crazy. That rogue rotation, they didn't have any space, and now they're bringing it down to the wire. Super Evan, Shadow Zeppa takes him down, gets knocked, and just last standing would be Limax across the way. We're gonna have to run it back. We've got to see the last stand because there's some pieces of this puzzle that I need.
Here's the thing about the Wolf. He got so hungry, overextended a bit, and got punished by Limax. I said don't sleep on him. Flying over from Australia, playing from Canada. I think they had a power surge last game and like didn't finish the map. They lost their power. They rebooted the PCs and won the map. If you've been sleeping on them, they're awake and they're winning map number 2. Let's take a look back in this last stand view to see how they did it, because Super Evan and Autorize dominated, but they stayed patient early and they let the rest of the teams around them clear out the competition so they could enact vengeance. Now, let's watch out for it, Tiff, because you can see Strixie's team rotating up low. You see Hunticity's team on the far hand side. Destroy and Nate Dogg, they got punished by this Super Evan team right before this view as OP Mark's team has to rotate into zone.
Yeah, they were able to pick up one off Team Destroy. So unfortunately for Raul, not going to be able to complete there. And OP Mark, Shaded Step, they're a duo now from contending alongside SSD, who were trying to rotate in late. But this is where things start to get interesting, especially on this eastern side. You have this isolated 3v3, and Hunticity has to contend with Tap and Johnny. Now that squad did a lot of damage in terms of denying the rotation, but Strixie makes that play we were talking about, hits the mobile buy station, grabs the gas mask, swings around, hits the buyback, and that 1v1 is just really quite interesting because it gave some cover for Team Hunticity. Then you jump back to the other side, and this 2v2 was pretty much what won them the game to allow them to clear out their side of the circle.
Yeah, it was a great fight, and Autorize and Super Evan had the small advantage of not only having cover, but also being inside the zone. Zeppa and Limax have the far side. They had this berm to play around with, which ended up giving them a massive advantage because nobody could really push them. They're handed free kills by players trying to drop a flank, but no one watched this breakdown because as the smokes push through, Super Evan tries to make a play on the outside of the gas. Zeppa perfectly reads him, and even though Zeppa falls here, it opens up the shoulder for Limax to win his ones and then clean up Super Evan to grab the victory. I believe Zeppa and Super Evan even got knocked each other potentially on the far side. What a cool moment. Let's tune into their reaction in the victory moment.
Wait for Aaron.
One's on me, one's on me.
Go, Aaron.
One shot left, one shot left.
Come on! Let's fucking go, man! Boys! Ain't fucking playing around, bro.
You're the fucking best, boys. Let's go, boys.
Fucking quick scoping these shit stains.
No weapon, form shot, bro.
All right, we got the passion straight out of Limax. 17 eliminations. We were talking during that drop gauge that Limax does have global LAN World Series of Warzone experience and is clearly passionate about getting back again this year.
And they all three do it. I think that's such a cool note, is that they all went to LAN, just different teams. You saw Zeppa coming from the Australian region and making it to the global finals and having a little bit of a frustratingly,